Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into that starting 11 versus FC Barcelona in our last game of the USA Tour. Mikel said that the difference between Man United and Barca and the challenge is going to be Barca do love to have a little possession, and Manchester United did go with a very physical approach. So we're going to be seeing a very different starting 11, and in this video, I want us to talk about a very different starting 11 from the one that we played against Manchester United. Now, there were a few issues that I've looked at. You know, in that United game, the pressing was very, very poor. The way we coordinated in our midfield, given the fact that we had 3 players in the team that had never played together, and a couple of other things. But back is going to be a test at a higher level, but also a test of a club that really plays like us. Like, this is more of your Manchester City without the aggression, without the physicality, because City will keep the ball, they will win it back very, very quickly. Their PPDA is so high. But the difference between them and Barca is Barca really do whatever City do without physicality. So mentally, physically, and the way you prepare for this game is so different from how you prepare for Man United and from how you prepare for Manchester City. The likes of Pedri, the likes of Frankie de Jong, the likes of Frank Kessié, those players are so different, and the education at Barcelona is very different from the education at Manchester United, and for me probably it's different from the education at Manchester City at the moment. I've looked at Barca for quite some time, and I can say this is going to be a very different game. And I agree with Mikel Arteta that this is going to be a very different challenge. But it's a game that prepares us for the UCL. It's a game that prepares us for that big stage. I know we will either play Bayern, Barcelona, or at least Napoli. I'm really sure we will play one of those, table leaders last campaign. So if we could get back up in the UEFA Champions League, I kind of feel like this is going to be our preparatory stage. Look at this game as a way of preparing for the UCL next campaign. Manchester United have also done it. They're going to play. Do they have Madrid? I think they do have Madrid. Okay, so I think they've also done a preparation in terms of the UCL campaign ahead. Okay, let's get into that starting 11 and the roles that every player has to play in this game, because I think it's one of those games where the roles have to be clearly defined, and any mistakes will actually be very, very highly punishable. We are playing one of the best. We are playing the best of the best in Europe. So we've got to be very, very careful. In goal, I think Aaron Ramsdale is a no-brainer. Now, I tell you what, if Matt Turner was fit, well, of course he's not fit, but if Matt Turner was fit, I would suggest that we play Matt Turner in his game, in his place. I would suggest that in this game we play Matt Turner over Aaron Ramsdale. And the reason is Ramsdale needs to have that sense of fear. He needs to know that when I make a mistake, it is highly punishable. When I make a mistake, when I make 2 mistakes in a game, when I have a poor performance, there is a goalkeeper that is ready on the sideline to come into my place, and he can actually perform very, very well. I think the one thing that Ramsdale, that will wake up Ramsdale is when one day Arsenal play in a knockout stage, and we have Matt Turner in goal, and we win a penalty shootout. I tell you this, Ramsdale has not saved a penalty, any penalty, whether it's in 5 out of 5 or in open play at Arsenal. So Matt Turner is a very good goalkeeper in terms of penalties, right? So in my opinion, I think Ramsdale needs to have that sense that if I don't perform well, if I don't give the best of my best, there is another goalkeeper that will come in and contest and probably take my position. But of course, Ramsdale, his distribution is going to be very, very key, because Barca do press high up the pitch. They're one of the clubs that concede very little, But that's down to two reasons. One, they press high up the pitch a lot. The likes of Robert Lewandowski, Pedri, Rafinha, they will hunt you down in your own half. And the other reason as to why Barca concede very little goals is, of course, the possession. They love being with the ball. They love keeping the ball, and they do have players that really keep the ball very, very well. So Ramsdale has got to be very careful because he's going to be playing the best in Robert Lewandowski. At centre back, I had problems with Gabriel and Saliba, but those problems do not actually warrant a change in the centre back partnership. But still, I would love to see something different. I would love to see at least a tweak, a change in what we saw against Manchester United. So at centre back, I think William Saliba is now becoming increasingly a player that Arsenal have to play every single game. He's as important as having Mikel Arteta. Like, he's one of those players that are really important to this side. The way he runs, he's very quick. He thinks very, very quickly and also decides very quickly. My problem with him at times is that, he struggles to defend the wide spaces. He struggles to defend those areas where probably Timber has gone or Ben White has actually gone further forward. So he struggles a little bit. But of course, he's much better than Gabriel in any circumstance. So joining him at centre-back, then I want Ben White. I want Ben White. I want to see what these two can actually do together. Okay, so we know that Virgil van Dijk and Konate have played together before. We know that Virgil van Dijk has played with Joe Matip before, and those are two right-footed centre backs. So it's not always that you have to play a left-footed centre back and a right-footed centre back. I mean, it's kind of a misnomer when you play two left-footed centre backs, but it is all right if two right-footed centre backs play together. But why I want these two to play in the same team, and especially against a club like FC Barcelona, I like the aggressiveness of Saliba. But one thing I like about Ben White, and this is, I don't think any other player does it very well like he does. Probably Timber will give us that. The way he slides into tackles. Look, I've seen clips of him on social media, Twitter, wherever, and Rashford is actually, bullying him and, those kind of photos, right? Photographs, giving him the photographs. But it comes from the fact that he's not afraid to go down. He's not afraid to go down into a challenge. So I would love to see Ben with those sliding tackles, with those always, committing into tackles and not fouls really, but interceptions and everything, with the calm Saliba, with that maturity that William Saliba brings to the side. I would love to see that centre back pairing against FC Barca. Okay, right back. I think Timber did very well, so I don't have a problem with Julian Timber. And I still think that because we're going to play a team that really plays just like us, it's going to be between who holds the possession better and who can actually use the possession very well. So Timber is one of the players that are very comfortable in possession, and Arsenal are very, very lucky to have him in the side. Left back, of course, Alexander Zinchenko is not available, and even if he was, playing Julian Timber on one side literally means that we have to play kind of a centre back at right, at left back. I want Kieran Tierney to play in this team. I still have a lot of optimism that Tierney will stay at Arsenal. I do have the optimism that he will be an Arsenal player next season. And I think we are increasingly seeing that importance of keeping him now. He's more of a centre-backy fullback. He loves to be on the, he loves to be in that defensive shape. He's solid. And because I would love to see Saliba play on the left-hand side, we will need a very good left-handed player, and that is Kieran Tierney. Why I don't play Kivio and why I don't prefer Kivio in such circumstances, although he's done very well, especially in preseason, is actually, I could argue that Kivior is Arsenal's best player in this preseason. Like, he's fitting very well in that back three system. And when he's been asked to invert into midfield, he's actually done it very, very well. But why I like Kieran Tierney is that ability to defend spaces, and that ability, because he's a fullback, he's a left back, and defensively at Arsenal, I don't think we have so many fullbacks that defend spaces better than Kieran Tierney. So in midfield, this is where the war is. But I'm going to go like this. I want Declan Rice in midfield against whoever is going to be playing there. Frankie De Jong, Pedri, Gavi, Frank Kessié. I don't care. Or Ilkay Gundogan. I don't think Ilkay Gundogan will play in this game because I don't think they've registered him yet. So I want Rice because this is a partnership that we're going to see a lot of the time. Rice, Havertz. I think Havertz is a player we'll see a lot at Arsenal next season. And Odegaard. Not Partey. Not Partey, of course. So, and Odegaard. So that midfield three is something I want to see us try out a lot of the time in preseason, a lot of the time when we still have the time. You know, the danger of playing Kai Havertz, or dropping Kai Havertz in preseason and playing him in the UEFA, in the Premier League or UCL, is it will take him time to form those partnerships. It will take him time to form those relationships with Rice and Odegaard. And we know the future of Mikel Arteta's midfield is Rice, Havertz, and Odegaard. Whether Thomas Partey is going to stay at Arsenal, whether Thomas Partey is going to leave, the future is Rice, Havertz, and Odegaard. But then also, I think in such a game, we will need to press, we will need a good counter press. I think Havertz is a good player in terms of pressing. I think Odegaard is superb in terms of pressing. But in terms of, positioning, winning balls in those spaces, in half spaces, and also making sure that you block the passing lanes, Rice is one of the best in Europe. So that midfield three, I want to see them again. Against Man United, horrendous, very poor. I didn't like it. But I would love to see them again. I would love to see them one more time before I pass my final judgment. Okay, right-hand side, left-hand side, and striker, the forward line. So, Barca do have one of those best defenses in Europe. They conceded only 20 goals last campaign in the La Liga. That was remarkable. 20 goals in 38 games. Remarkable. So you understand they love possession, but they're also very, very stingy at the back. So we will need a lot of progressive players, and we will need players that are smart and players that are very, very quick. So Trossard really impressed me on the in the Manchester United game. And with Leandro Trossard, we have a special player, a very special player. He's played where Gabriel Jesus is. He's played where Gabriel Martinelli is. He's played where Kai Havertz is trying to play. And he's played where Saka is. So he's one of those players that are just special, versatile, yes. But then he's also got that extra ability to, facilitate the team. In areas where you need to pick up some more quality, in areas where you need that extra bit of running, he's always willing. And he's a willing player and a willing runner. So Trossard, I give him to start against Barcelona because I think Barca do need that kind of maturity to break them down. Okay. At centre forward, surprisingly, if he's available, I would love to see Florian Balogun. And before you slam me, this is the reason. So this Barcelona defense will need a striker that is not only clinical, but I think Balogun is really clinical, but also a striker that is going to push them. They will need a threat, right? So you don't want to give them a lot of comfort. And of course, Gabriel Jesus doesn't give you that kind of comfort. But because it drops so much into the midfield and tries to help out the team, it will attract pressure. It will attract pressure from the likes of Araujo and Christensen, and that will allow them play out from the back more smoothly, but also effectively. So Balogun, what he does is he's that kind of striker that always is going to be on your shoulder. The moment you lose track of him, just like Jadon Sancho played against us, always on your shoulder. It means that your centre backs will have to either commit into, keeping him out of the game, or they either commit to playing, to playing with the team, and then they risk that transition. So Balogun is going to be my selection, and then of course Saka. Saka has had also a very good preseason so far. He did give us some good minutes against Manchester United, very good minutes against FC Nürnberg, and he played well still against the MLS All-Stars. So I think what we need to do with Saka is to make sure that he plays every single game. He plays every single game. He's got to play at least 38 games in a campaign. That is all combined, of 38 to 40 games in a campaign. The rest of the games, we can actually find, other players to fit in. So that is my starting 11 against FC Barcelona. The roles in this game are going to be very specific. And I'll talk about that in the preview, just in case I get my voice back. See you right in the next one.